I'm 12 years old. I stare at myself in the mirror. I see this huge big pimple filled with pus on my nose, looking like it's gonna burst. What do I do? It's 8:53 a.m. The bus is coming in 2 minutes. I quickly wash my face. Damn it! The pimple, it has now popped, and blood is floating out the side of my nose like hot lava out of a volcano. I put a Band-Aid on my nose. I run out the door. I get on the bus. I know the kids, they're staring. Why is there a bloody Band-Aid on her nose? I slide into my seat. I curl into a ball. I want to be invisible. This feeling happened to me all the time. This was my normal. Every time I left my house, I tried to hide. All I wanted was to desperately fit in with everyone else, to have perfect skin, but I was so far from that. In the 3rd grade, I received my first pimple. This once smooth and glossy, childlike or perfect skin became littered with pimples, acne, scars, blackheads. There was an anxiety when something perfect gradually loses its perfection every day. And this anxiety, it was so great I needed to do everything in my power to make it perfect again. There was no way I could stare back and see ugliness reflected onto me. These thoughts continued. As a teenager, I thought, if I'm being called pizza face, would teachers want to call on me in class? Or what about that cute boy, that one who sits behind me in chemistry class? What is he gonna think as I turn around and I ask him to pass up his homework? Will he notice the scars on my face? My parents and I were on a crusade. We're gonna fight this battle. And skincare treatments, it's quite expensive. I mean, we must have spent over $20,000 on trying to find a cure for my skin. I tried high-end products. I tried drugstore products. I went to so many different doctors, surgeons, dermatologists. I ingested prescription pills, and I took Chinese herbs. With each new product I tried came Daisy, this is the bottle of perfection, and images of how different my life would be once I had perfect skin swarmed in my head. Unfortunately, the more products I tried, the worse my skin became, and I was fleeting so far from those images. My story is not unique. All too often, we struggle to fit in with what the external world tells us we should be. The greatest tragedy of our generation is the never-ending struggle for perfection. It's a nasty, perpetuating cycle, and my story is not unique. The average teen spends 9 hours a day in front of their screens. Much of that is on social media, seeing projected, perfected images of one's highlight reel. Likes, comments, followers are an easy yardstick for one's self-worth, and this generation is constantly validation hunting on their screens. The CDC has reported that the suicide rate between 2006 and 2016 has gone up 70%. The American Psychology Association has reported that rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide are at an all-time high for those under 26, even compared with their older generation cohorts. And SDSU professor Dr. Jing has stated, "It's not an exaggeration that iGen is facing the worst mental health crisis in decades. Much of that can be traced back to their phones." The momentum for perfection is so great. This needs to stop. The greatest tragedy was not the fact I had imperfect skin. The greatest tragedy was the fact I was consumed with this ideal for perfection. It occupied my every waking thought. And in this process, I skipped out on lunch because I didn't know where I was going to sit in the cafeteria. I didn't go to the homecoming dances. I hid myself, who I truly was in this pursuit for perfection. Eight years ago, I am 22 years old. I just graduated from college. It's a Saturday night. My skin, it's at its absolute worst. I am bored. I am lonely. I am tired of hiding. I want to talk to someone. Is anyone there? I open up my laptop. I press record. And I talk for 12 minutes about how I really feel about my skin. I show all the sides of my face. I'm not wearing any makeup. I'm in my PJs. The lighting is subpar. I mean, this is as imperfect as it gets. I'm saving my file. I save it as growingupugly.mov. I want to save it on the cloud, so I decide on YouTube. And I'm choosing my username. And I know I need to find a username no one will ever be able to spell or find. So I choose Dazers89. I press the publish button. I shut my laptop down, I push it to the side. Oh my God, what have I just done? What did I just do? I mean, is anyone gonna see this video? A few weeks later, I am checking my email. I get a notification. Someone has viewed my video. I get another notification. Someone has liked my video. I get another notification. Someone has commented on my video. All of a sudden, people from all over are telling me how much my video means to them. This was the first time I didn't try to hide who I was. I shared who I truly was, as imperfect as I am, and people loved me for that. Today, this channel has over 700 videos with over 70 million views. I am now founder and CEO of a multi-million-dollar skincare business with over 15 employees and hundreds of thousands of customers around the world. But none of that would have happened if I didn't face my perfectionism head on and upload that video to Dazers89 that Saturday night. Throughout our society, we're constantly battling perfection, and the pressure to downplay who we are happens more often than you may think. I mean, think about a time you went along with something you didn't feel like was you. Or how about that meeting last Thursday, the one where you had that brilliant idea you wanted to share, but instead you held it in, you kept it to yourself. How do we get on the other side of this? How do we have the courage to not only figure out who we are, but share that with other people? It may be the hardest thing we have to do in our life. Is it as simple as uploading a video on YouTube? Now, I am a very practical person, so I've given you guys 3 tips on how we can practice to be our most authentic self. Tip number 1, stay solo. When we spend time alone, we understand who we truly are. Too often are we influenced by external factors from friends, family, society. It may be scary being alone because it means you need to be at ease with your own thoughts. One thing I love is traveling by myself. It may be a solo trip to Europe or the city next door, but being alone gives me the freedom to think. I mean, can you remember the last time you were insanely bored out of your mind? Let's take baby steps. Let's schedule 30 minutes a few times a week just to sit and stare and think. And I know we're always so busy, so if you don't have 30 minutes, fine. How about 15 minutes or even 5 minutes? Learn to be at ease with your own thoughts. This is part of personal growth. Tip number 2, surrender your social. I know everyone's like, get off social media, you have to spend less time on social media. And yeah, it's way easier said than done, especially we have the top computer programmers in the world trying to figure out how to make us more addicted every day. I challenge you this then. Post something vulnerable. Post something not part of your highlight reel. When we post something that's vulnerable, we're better able to connect with those around us. In fact, for my company's Instagram, the posts that gets the most engagement are the real, authentic, vulnerable ones. So share something that's not part of your highlight reel. And even if social media is too overwhelming, it's totally okay to take a break. You're not going to miss anything. This holiday season, I felt extreme anxiety, and I realized it was because I was tired of scrolling through everyone's perfect Christmas photos with their perfect Christmas outfits, perfect Christmas vacations, perfect Christmas trees. So I deleted Instagram from my phone. Now, at first, it was weird because I was like, my thumb, like, what do I do? Like, where's it supposed to scroll on? Immediately, the anxiety lifted, and I enjoyed my entire holiday season, not having documented a single second of it. You won't miss out on anything, don't worry. Tip number 3, be brave. We need to be brave to take the risk to share who we are. So express yourself. Sing, dance, write, or even read an actual book. When we focus more on the creative, we're focused less on trying to fit in an external measurement of validation. Get lost in the flow. The moment you're so engaged in your craft that all time seems to stop. The other day, I was at a coffee shop editing a video. I was there for 9 hours. The coffee I ordered was cold and untouched, and the staff had to come tell me, hey, we're closing shop for the night. Lead into what gets you in that flow. We need to be brave. We need to think of bravery as a muscle. One seemingly impossible task soon becomes second nature with consistent practice. So practice. Practice being authentically you. And it doesn't need to be a heroic act of courage. It could be something as simple as sharing your opinion in a meeting or having that hard conversation, you know, that one with that friend you've been putting off for a year. Even for me, I had to be brave and practice my bravery muscle when I pressed the publish button and submitting this application for this very talk. But without these little exercises of bravery, I wouldn't be here on this red circle in front of you today. Living a life in the struggle for perfection is not a very fulfilling life. But when we're able to practice being authentically ourselves, when we're able to stay solo, surrender our social, and be brave, then we can live a life true to who we are. I want to leave you with this final thought. When patients are interviewed on their deathbed, the number one regret is, I wish I lived the life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Let's all go out there and live our most authentic life. Join me. Thank you.